Hi, Martin Roberts here. Welcome to another property masterclass. This is the section of making money from property. What? That's my brand. This is the segment of Martin Roberts Property Tippets, the YouTube channel. That's it, where I just try and give you some real foundation information and knowledge in the world of property investing. There's lots of frivolous stuff in the rest of the channel. You can follow me doing an actual renovation. You've got DIY disasters with Wise Alec. You've got the kids DIY and adult DIY ideas, and some DIY hacks as well. But this is the element of the channel where I'm just trying to really impart a bit of real solid educational knowledge. And we're coming to the end of a sort of like a sub-section of my masterclass, which is all about auctions. I decided to split this up into lots of different modules. So we've done 5 so far, and this is the 6th. So if you haven't seen the others, it might be worth spending some time going back. They're all up there on the channel now. So just check this particular playlist, and you'll see the various auction masterclasses that I've put up there, taking you through the whole process. So really, this is the last little one of these sections where I just wanted to sort of like round up everything I've said, and also give you a few final like nuggets of information and a few good ideas. So let's start with a few of those good ideas. Make sure that you do like this video, and make sure that you subscribe to the channel as well, and also check out, as I said, Martin Roberts propertyeducation.com, where you find out about all sorts of things, including my book, which is the Property Auction Guide, which can guide you on everything you could ever want to know about buying property at auction, and certainly acts as a great companion volume to my Property Auction Masterclass, which is a DVD based or downloadable video based training course all about buying property at auction. So auctions, we've discovered, represent a tiny fraction of the market, 6% of property sales. We've also discovered that there are bargains at auctions, but not all auction properties are bargains. We've discovered that you can actually get normal finance on auction properties. Normal building societies and banks will lend money on auction properties. The only thing you don't have in your favour is time, because it all happens very quick, and you've got a maximum of 28 days from exchange to completion. And one of the golden rules of buying at auction is that you must have your ducks in a row financially before you go to that auction. You need to know that you can afford to pay for the property before you bid on it. But we also know that there are finance companies out there, short-term finance, bridging finance, who do auction property finance, and who are there to provide funds if you can't get them from any other means, but they are expensive. So they're something to use as almost as a last resort if you can't get other finance. We've discussed getting yourself familiar with the idea of going to auction, and that can be going to a car auction or going to a household auction. Just the idea of bidding against people. You know, better to practice your bidding on a box of crockery rather than a £10,000, £20,000, £50,000, £100,000 house. We've also talked about making sure that you know why you're buying a property, and that fact you're buying it at auction doesn't really make any difference in terms of what you buy. You know, it still has to be fit for purpose. You need to make sure that the property you're buying is going to work for you. Is it something you want as a personal home? Is it something that's going to be a buy to let? Is it going to be something that you're going to holiday let or rent out to students? And does it work from that point of view? And we've talked about visiting local auctions in your area to get yourself familiar and also know the kind of properties that are there. We talked about the rise of online auctions and how, you know, currently, as I sit in 2020 in July, you know, a lot of the real life auctions, aren't there, but a lot of stuff is online. But we believe, hopefully, that the live auctions will come back, and they will run probably in parallel with the auctions that are happening online. But you know, the principles are the same whether you're bidding online or in live, if you like, or live. You need to have researched the property. You need to have been to see it. You need to have checked out similar properties and made sure that the kind of money that you should be spending on a property. That you've come up with a budget based on real research, due diligence, and what similar properties are selling for in that area, and the kind of money you're going to have to spend to do up the property to get it into a saleable or livable or rentable state. And then we've talked about the actual auction process itself and going along to an auction maybe beforehand to try and just familiarise yourself. But whatever you do, don't bid until you've got the finances in place, and you might be attracted to do so by the price that you see some properties that you know. And then we talked about the bidding process and how you shouldn't be daunted, and the auction is on your side. And it's really important that you know that, and you shouldn't be worried about accidentally sneezing and buying a property. And then bidding strategies, and whether you wait until the end and start bidding only when other people have stopped bidding, which is certainly a way that I suggest you consider it. And then we've also talked about what happens if properties don't sell, and you might want to make a post-auction bid. So apart from sort of summing up all that here, I thought it'd be useful to give you a few other hints and tips, and maybe one of them is quite useful, and that's to look for properties from outside an area in a particular auction. So if you are, say, at a Derby auction, you might want to be looking out for properties from Manchester or from London or from Brighton, and why these properties end up in properties from out of area sometimes is a little bit unclear, but they do. You might think that, for instance, in a London auction, a property from Derby is going to sell for more than it would if it was in a local auction in Derby. Well, in fact, it's the opposite's true. London auctions are more often than not filled with people who are looking for London properties, perhaps. Derby auctions filled with people who are looking for properties from Derby or the Derby area, perhaps. So if you get an out of area property come in, there's likely to be less people who are aware of that property or interested in that property, and therefore it does give you an opportunity to maybe spot things. If you know an area within your area which is very smart or very desirable, then that local knowledge you can use to your advantage, perhaps by going and spotting properties from an outside area in a particular auction. And I've talked before about a website called EIG Group, and that contains lots of auction information and will flag up properties from wherever you're interested in, wherever they come up at auction. So if you're interested in Brighton properties, then that website will flag up Brighton properties in any auctions throughout the country. So that's definitely something to consider. So look for properties from out of the area, and also look for properties that are sold at auctions from unpopular times of the year. At the end of the day, it's about the number of people who are there in the room or perhaps watching online. The less people there are, the better, because then you're up against less competition. So, holiday periods, around Christmas, times when people have just got other things on their mind might be a time to look at visiting the auctions. And then just try and, think in as open way as possible about the opportunities that are out there. And opportunities might come your way that you hadn't considered, so be open to those. On the other hand, start out perhaps by just really focusing in on something that you can look for and be comfortable with. And that might be a two down terrace in need of a bit of refurbishment. It might be a 3-bed semi that needs completely gutting. It might be a plot of land that you could build a house on. Start by focusing, but then as you become more experienced, be open to all the possibilities that are out there. I believe auctions are a great way to get hold of property. They throw up really interesting opportunities, and there are bargains to be had. I am a huge fan of them. Make sure you watch Homes Under the Hammer, because it does set the scene for the whole auction process. And then just, if you are serious about this, just take your time, visit some auctions, visit some property auctions, and you might be amazed about what you might find. Because honestly, there's some great stuff at auctions. So I hope this little 6-part sub-series has been informative and interesting to you. Make sure that you enhance your knowledge through either my property training courses that I do with Asset Academy. That's information about that, and everything else I do is on martinrobertspropertyeducation.com. There's also my property guides, my property auction guide, and Making Money from Property, which is like a real starter guide on the world of getting involved in property. And also I've got my auction masterclass, which is an online course which you can do and train yourself even more on the world of buying property at auction. But for now, I hope you found this interesting. Keep watching the show and look around Martin Roberts Property Tidbits for lots of other useful information and inspiration from the world of property and DIY. Make sure you like this, make sure you subscribe, and thank you for watching.